Hey everyone, it's Mahira, aka MC Aquila, and in an earlier video I talked about ways that I work without motivation. It basically comes down to making deals with myself, bribing myself, etc. to make the work happen, even though I really don't want to do it. However, there are some days when I start out with no motivation but can rekindle it, and I've broken down how I do this into a nice numbered list. 1. Take a break. I mentioned this in the other video, but taking a break, even for just like 5 to 10 minutes, can sometimes rekindle motivation. 2. Put on music that has a strong emotional connection to whatever I'm working on. So, I have a weird example of how this works. I haven't watched the Arcane series yet, but the song What Could Have Been has a very strong connection for me to a villain of mine who is in one of my stories that is on my wall of shame. So every time I hear that song, I am suddenly like intensely motivated to work on that story and write that villain, even though that story is behind the shame curtains and I really shouldn't be spending mental time on it or any time on it. So this technique can be effective, but like that's not always a good thing. The third thing that I do is reread my work. This works for both comics and for fiction, but especially for comics. If I reread a few previous pages of my comic, that can really make me want to complete some more. If I try to reread chapters that I have completed recently whenever I'm writing a book, this can just make me feel extremely tired and have the opposite effect, so go figure. This makes the fourth thing that works kind of funny. The fourth thing that helps is reread my co-writer's work. So while rereading my own stuff doesn't work, rereading the chapter that my co-writer Casey Lonan has added lately to our manuscript, it is a huge motivation boost. I want to keep that story going, I want to keep the momentum going, and plus I like her characters, I like the way she writes. It's very inspiring. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. The fifth thing that helps is positive feedback. This is very basic, but if I get a note from a friend or positive feedback from my readers, especially my patrons, after uploading a comic page, or if I get an excited text from my co-writer after uploading a chapter, like that is a huge motivation boost. I do try not to rely on this because like there's a lot of pitfalls if you start to depend on positive feedback because it's not always going to come. Like maybe your page just didn't strike a chord with people, or maybe your co-writer is too busy to send you a text, and like that is outside of your control, and it's fine because it's not their problem if you made that an essential part of how your motivation works. So like, don't do it. 6. I do something else. I am never more motivated to work on my comics or my stories than after my day off, which is Sunday. Having a little time away can really just rekindle the love. Absence makes the heart grow fonder and all that. This also has to do with like sometimes the way that I will motivate myself to do something is making it a procrastination method. So let's say that I really need to finish the inking on my comic page today, but I just don't have any motivation to work on my comic page. But I also have like 3 chapters that I need to edit for my manuscript. That's less urgent, but it's not the comic page. If I basically am like, well, I'll work on the chapters now and the comic page later, that's basically procrastination, but it does mean that I just have more motivation to work on the less essential stuff. Like, I don't know. Procrastination is weird, y'all. And like, this isn't really a great method because obviously it's still a form of procrastination, but I am also getting things done. I don't know. Have you ever like experienced this? Like, how do you like rekindle motivation? Have you tried these things? Or do you have completely different methods? Or have you tried these things and they just didn't work for you? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see y'all in another video. Bye-bye!